I've had this empty terrarium sitting for a couple months, and I have not been sure where to begin. And the only way to find out was to start. The story began when I went to my local pet store and I found this nice piece of corkwood. It had some nice features on it that I really enjoyed, and it gave me the motivation that I finally needed to start this project. I've never used corkwood before since I typically specialize in aquariums. So I was excited to find out the properties of this wood, and to no surprise, it was rubbery and very easily I could break it with a little bit of force. Now, at this point, I was just breaking off a couple pieces because I wasn't entirely sure how I would use them. I wanted to use the corkwood for the background of the terrarium, and so I began by dry fitting, really to see what would look best. I was very pleased with the size and shape of this piece of corkwood, and so I instantly began to secure it to the glass with foam. Now that the corkwood was secure to the glass with foam, I had to fill in the gaps. After this, I began to attach even more corkwood in order to finish the background, and here was that process. Now that this piece of corkwood is secured, it creates a nice visual gap that I will also fill in with foam and give a dusting of dirt. Now, I actually had this really nice piece of spider wood that was recycled from one of my old aquariums, so I was very excited to use it in this project. It was important that I found a right place for this, and finally, after turning it over a couple times, I found that place for it. Now that I have the position of the spider wood figured out, it is ready to be attached. I began to push down on the dirt to make sure it would stick. After the foam cured, it expanded quite a bit. However, I actually preferred this look over how I had it originally and just needed some touch up. A couple dabs was all it took to cover up the spots. I made sure to be careful not to miss a spot and gave it time to dry. This is where I began to pour some gravel, and as well, I would add a mesh layer and pour carbon on top of it and put substrate. I wanted to get everything moist in the terrarium to make planting a bit easier. And a lot of these materials came from my local pet store, including the gravel, the substrate, and the corkwood. So you too could very easily make a project like this. Let's begin by planting some plants on the bottom layer. I began to ball up some of the sphagnum moss in order to shove it in between some of the crevices in order to hold the moisture. I'm very pleased with the final look of this terrarium, and make sure to stick till the end to see the final showcase as well as subscribing.